I would describe it as insightful in terms of providing a framework for how you bridge gaps when you know you have a different perspective from the other party that you're speaking with. The program gave me mechanisms that I can tangibly utilize to try and move the dialogue along from a basis of relationship and trust. I mean, those are the two big factors that I took away from the experience. And based upon my authority that I had as a CEO, I didn't necessarily utilize as much, sort of relationship building in making decisions. I considered whatever information was available, made my choice, articulated my choice, then looked for the next problem to resolve. And to the extent that there were resistors or people who were not quite on board, just say, hey, the train has left the station. I now have a different perspective because I'm no longer in this position of authority where I can make those things happen.
Working with a group that is in conflict, or even a group that isn't in conflict but can't quite converge their ideas because of differing worldviews. It actually deepened my insight into worldviews, but particularly how that impacted my work. And I'd probably not thought about it as much. And, when I work with communities and, as a community development worker, work with communities as individuals, but also we do bring communities together where there can be some angst, there can be a lot of anger, a lot of things that are rubbing in the community, and being able to have a deeper understanding of worldviews and the worldviews that people come into, that it gives you those tools to be able to think, this is what I'm seeing. And it gives you some ideas around how you might work around it, or how you might work with those group dynamics a little bit better.
I think this course is most useful for bridging gaps between employers and employees and managers. I find, especially working in a large healthcare field, everybody comes with different perspectives and everybody wants the best for the kids that we look after. So to have a common language, to come together, and instead of coming at it from a more combative standpoint, from really coming from the standpoint that we do understand that everybody wants to do the same thing. Everybody has the same goals, but how are we going to get there? And understanding that you're bringing something with you that may affect how you react, and understanding that you don't know everything and you don't know everybody's worldview and what other people have experienced, and trying to be a bit more mindful that what you're saying might trigger somebody else.
What I've found in my professional life is that there are many undercurrents to change which don't necessarily surface in the normal course of activity. And you have to give people their opportunity to gain voice, to articulate, their concerns, and then you can deal with them more objectively. So I would say any organization that's, facing change, that having a worldview intelligence framework to be able to surface the concerns of the broader population. The circumstance in Bermuda today, where Carrie and I and others believe that, this methodology is entirely appropriate for the transitions that we're facing. We're wrestling with how do we get share of mind of the decision makers so that they understand exactly what it is that we are talking about. The last speech that I gave in Bermuda in 2019 was about this transition we need to make in moving from talking at to talking with. I'm now hearing a few more people, embracing that notion. There isn't a reservoir of knowledge and understanding about what talking with truly means. We're talking about radical shifts in education, a pending radical shift in healthcare, a likely seismic change in attitudes toward immigration. We're an island of 65,000 people. The premier has quietly said he'd like to see the population move to 80. Well, that's not going to happen through increasing birth rates. It's only going to happen through the influx of new persons. And there is a very low receptivity to this notion of more people coming in who, don't share my culture, don't share my worldview, and what does this all mean for me? And all of that can, I think, be addressed if we architected these more robust, wholesome conversations.